And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody watching. I'm Cohen Ingram alongside Connor Boyd as we're here for the OCAA matchup between the St. Lawrence Surge and the hometown George Brown Huskies.
Hello there, everyone. We got a good matchup here so far. Both teams winless this season, hoping to pick up their first one today.
And not only winless, both teams have yet to win a set so far. The Surge coming off a 3-0 straight set loss versus the Loyalists. And starting us off here with a serve, it's going to be Derek Lee for the Surge. A great collection there by the Huskies and a big spike as that's going to be recollected back in Huskies territory. And a block that is unsuccessful. The first point on the board is going to be for Svidritsky, collecting his 21st kill on the season, averaging 3.33 kills per set. As we get ready now, a big block there as it's going to bounce out of bounds off the hands of Nick Phoebe.
Very high-paced game to start us off here.
Coming back to get ready to serve is going to be Liam Bishop. Bishop with the serve as that's going to be collected by the Huskies, and a big spike there goes off the hands, and it's going to be Nick Phoebe collecting a point for the Huskies. And the serve coming from the Huskies, that had some spin to it as it's going to hit the roof and go out of bounds.
What a beautiful serve there. That top spin jumper. Piece of beauty there.
Defense unable to read the quick drop off the serve as it's going to be Svidritsky getting ready to serve this one. That's going to go out of play, a lengthy one.
Switch to the floater, and I'm not too sure why. The jumper worked so well in the serve before.
It definitely did, as it's going to be Peyton George going behind the line here for the Surge as he winds up for the serve, as that's going to be picked up here by the Huskies. Svidritsky just pops it over the net. Now a recollect as there's a diving stop. And it's going to be a net violation, and the point is going to be awarded to the Huskies. Getting ready for the serve is going to be Daryl Jose. Jose with the serve as that's going to be knocked up in the air. A set over to the right side, and that's going to be in play. And the Surge collect a beautiful point off of a beautiful spike coming from Adrian Fulot.
I don't even know if that made it past the other side's attack line. That was just sharp angle right to the ground. Wow.
She gets set for the serve now. That's going to go out of play, and it hits the Huskies coach. Quick apology there by Filot as Nick Phoebe gets back behind the line here for the Huskies and gets ready to set the serve. The delivery as that's collected. The Surge, that's going to go off the netting, off the hands of Ethan Sutton. Phoebe with the serve once again. Good call there by the Surge bench, announcing that it was going to go out of bounds there as they collect a point. Here comes Riley Murray with the serve for the Surge. He looks pretty amped up here. The high launch and a good spin off the serve is a set, and a spike as that's going to fall through, and a point for the Huskies.
This Huskies attack looks great right now. Seeming to find ball to ground through these blocks consistently.
And a good setup there by the Surge as it's back in the hands of the Huskies, and a spike as that's going to go off the hands, and a Huskies point awarded. as it was Adrian Freelet just unable to collect that spike. Going back for the serve. It's going to be a late floater coming from Suzuki. Svidritsky, and now it's going to be a surge point as Peyton George laid out to go play that one, but didn't get his hand on the ball as it went out of bounds. A good save there.
It's a lucky one. I think he was trying to make contact with the ball and accidentally missed. Works out well for their team.
It's one of those ones where you say that it was on purpose, but it might have been a mistake at the end of it, as the Huskies now have a hold of the ball, and a big spike there by Svidritsky as the Surge are able to recollect, and another big block followed.
And you could tell he's really dominating out there early in this game.
It's one of the taller players here in this matchup, standing at 6'8".
That was a beautiful ace there. Wow. Nice little curve straight to the ground. Found the edge of the court. Beautiful serve.
Both teams showing off insane velocity on the serve so far to start us off. This time coming from Joseph Lee, as that's not going to be able to clear the net. A Huskies point as the Surge miscommunication strikes again. And a timeout is going to be called here by St. Lawrence Surge, as we are going to take a quick break, allow the coaches to recollect their players and get a discussion rolling.
I mean, I can't even pinpoint something here that the Surge are doing wrong. It just feels like the Huskies are outplaying them on every level right now.
It is the first set after all. Teams are just getting warmed up, as it was a lengthy one before this between the female squads, between the Surge and the Huskies. Went to the fifth set for that George Brown team that's went 0-2. Forcing it to a fifth set was a big game for them, as hopefully their momentum will transfer over to the men's squad as they have an early lead here in set number one. We are set and ready to go after the timeout. Coach is able to get their words of wisdom over to the players as they get set here on the court. As it's going to be Joseph Lee taking the serve once again here for the Huskies. A set and a spike, and that's going to be recollected here by the Huskies. Svidritsky, and another point for Svidritsky. Showing off why he is the team leader in kills per set. Staying at 3.33, but I'm sure after this set it's going to go way up from that. And a set and a spike there coming from George as it goes out of bounds. Lee behind the line here for the Huskies, getting ready to serve. He tosses it and sends it over, but it can't get over the net, so it's going to be a point for the Surge. Derek Lee getting ready to serve here. Floater to the Huskies territory, and a nice block there coming from George. And Svidritsky with a spike, as that's going to be collected. A diving play there by Agudo. Lee, a set, and just a light tapper. And some diving plays. And the Surge are unable to get it over the net in under 3 hits.
It's just demoralizing for the Surge there. It's tough when you keep getting the ball back over and can't seem to get a nice couple passes strung together.
The velocity coming off of Svidritsky. It's going to be quick reaction time here by the Surge defensively to try to lay out for those blocks, and a light tapper over coming from Peyton George as he's going to get a point Cuts the lead down to half as it's now 14-7 here in the first set. And the serve coming from Bishop. That's not going to make it over. Yaroslav Svidritsky gets ready here behind the line. And a beautiful, beautiful ace there by the 6'8" from Vaughan, Ontario.
That one just flashed past my eyes straight onto the ground. That was an incredible serve there.
Should probably get some radar guns propped up here in the corners after that one, as he's unable to get it a second time as it hits the netting. And the Surge are awarded the point. Peyton George from Amherstview, Ontario, getting ready here behind the line. Recovery here from the Huskies and a light tapper over the net. That time coming from Jose. The set, the spike, as that
it all cut.
And sorry for that, folks, as we are back here. 24-13 is the score, and a beautiful serve there coming from Lee. As there's a big set and a big block as the Surge are going to get a point as it just slips through Svidritsky. 24-14, 1 point away from winning their first set of the season after getting 2 losses off 6 straight sets. The Huskies try to collect, and that's going to be inbounds, and the Huskies take the first set, 25-14.
Wow, this Surge team seems to have no answer for this Huskies attack, more specifically in Svidritsky.
I mean, this man he's 6'8", so it doesn't take a whole lot of jump for him to get over the net and get hand on ball. He's had a few big blocks there in set number 1 and a bunch of kills, giving the Huskies their first set victory of the season. So we are going to take a quick break here, allow the coaches to discuss with the players. We'll be back with you for set number 2 in just a few moments. And just like that, folks, we are back and ready to go here for set number 2 between the George Brown Huskies and the St. Lawrence Surge. Both teams holding an 0-2 record heading into this one. And the Surge still looking to win their first set of the season as the Huskies just won theirs.
And that last set was all Huskies, too. They were in control from the start right till the end there. I'm sure they hope to carry this momentum through into the second set.
This will definitely be a big set here for the Huskies. Really want to gain a 2-0 set lead, especially against a team they know they are head-to-head with in the standings. As getting ready for the serve here is going to be Tyne Suzuki. That's delivered over the Surge territory, and now a big spike there. That's going to bounce out of bounds, and a point awarded to Liam Bishop. Now the serve coming from the Surge. That's going to be into Huskies territory. Svidritsky with a spike, and racing after it was Riley Murray as the ball went out of reach, and a Huskies point as it's now tied at 1 apiece here in set number 2.
Give him a good set against the net. He'll get a good hit. Give him a set 2 feet off the net. Svidritsky still gets the hit. It's incredible.
Nice recovery there off the serve by the Surge as that's going to go out of play. Getting ready to deliver this one is going to be Liam Bishop. Sees behind the line, lobs it up and serves it over as that's going to be collected here by the Huskies. A setup for Law there as that's going to bounce way out into the referee's table. It's going to be Kalen Smith now here for the Huskies behind the line. Few bounces of the ball, and now he's going to lob it up and get ready to serve as that one goes into Surge territory and out of bounds. As he's taken right out after that one. And that one's just going to get jammed up on Joseph Lee there, unable to recover off the serve as the Surge now have a 2-point lead here in set number 2.
St. Lawrence team finally getting a little bit of momentum here early in the second set. Possibly they can start to run away with this one.
George with the serve as that's just going to nick over the net. And a big point there for the Huskies. Here's the man of the hour, Yaroslav Svidritsky, getting ready to serve. And that one had some heat to it as it is going to go out of play. Surge struggling to recover off these high-velocity serves coming from the Huskies.
When those jump spins are coming down, it's really hard to get in front of and give a good pass up. As you can see, even getting your hands in front of it, she starts flying off to the side like that. If he can put this serve in bounds, it's really hard to have an answer for.
And it
goes out the back. I can see the referee signal here.
Barely there as he's quite accurate with the way that he places the ball around the court, able to catch a corner like we've seen in set number 1. As that one goes flying to the back wall here, way out of bounds, as it ties it up at 5 apiece. As here comes Matthew Law. And the set and the spike over on the right side, that's going to be bounced back into Surge territory after the spike from Murray. Now the recollect. Over to Lee. Lee sets it over. Now the right side, and a big block there coming from Tyan Suzuki.
Wow, 5'8" getting up there. What a play.
Looked like he was levitating to me as it's Matthew Law getting set right now behind the line. And a hefty serve, and that's going to be another point for the Huskies as the bench is completely fired up in front of us right now.
These George Huskies, their serves are just accurate and fast. This is the Surge really struggling to get a first pass up.
Nice spin on that serve is going to be set over to the right side, and a big block there. Svidritsky sets it, and the set over to find Suzuki for the point. As we get set here now, it's going to be Matthew Law once again. And a hefty serve, and unable to collect it was Liam Bishop.
You can see he's really feeling himself right now as he forces the timeout out of the Surge. Wow.
What a big first half to this set for the Huskies. Forcing the Surge to put their backs up against the wall. Forcing a timeout here. 9-5. It's only the score. We got plenty of points left to play here in set number 2. The Huskies are definitely in control.
How about a couple of those plays back-to-back there by Taya and Suzuki? The nice little block immediately followed by a little fake tip over. Back-to-back points for the Huskies.
With the bench sitting in front of us here, it's hard to see the tiny little Taya and Suzuki only standing at 5'8" compared to the rest of his lengthy squad. I think he is the shortest listed, and yes, he is. He just levitates up towards that net and lays down with authority. He's collected a few points so far in set number 2, looking to carry that out for the rest of the match. Getting set for the serve is going to be no other than Matthew Law once again. Unreal command with the ball here behind the line as he gets set to lob it up. As he does right now, and the serve as that had some authority, and they're going to say he jumped over.
Just barely. See, that's the risk you run with those jumps, with those top spin jump serves. You got covering so much ground as you're running in. You're risking stepping on the line and giving up a point for free.
And the set over finds Lee. And over to the right side, a big spike and a big block there by the Huskies, and Svidritsky is unable to get it, and they're going to announce the point for the Huskies.
I believe it was a net foul there, Cohen. I think the middle on the surge made contact with the net.
Okay, then that makes a lot more sense because Svidritsky definitely made contact there with the ball. But it was a late call here by the officials. This is a game of inches, folks. As we see it here now, the set over to the right side, and a big spike and a big block there as the Surge lose control.
What a block there by Kaylin Smith.
Getting set here on the line is going to be Nick Phoebe. Beautiful serve there, and an even better spike coming from Joseph Lee.
And the party ball there, you toss it up against the net, give him the opportunity. That is a hitter's dream right there.
Phoebe back behind the line, ready to get this one back underway. No time wasted here. Beautiful serve. Nice setup here coming from the Surge, and a spike over to the right side, and they're going to call that on the line, out of bounds. Huskies point.
This Huskies team, what is this run they're on right now? I believe we've seen five straight points out of the Huskies now as they start to run away with this in the second set.
Nice setup there off the serve, and a quick laydown coming from, I believe that was number 7 there. And yes, it was Derek Lee finding the ball and just tapping it lightly over the net and catching the defense off guard.
It's a good play there by the Surge. They needed a little something to build some momentum, and it seems to be helping them already.
2 straight points after 5 straight unanswered coming from the Huskies. The Surge are trying to roll back into this second set. Have their backs up against the wall already, being down 2-0 in sets. It'll be the last thing they want, and it's going to be just out. Sorry, that's going to stay in there. Svidritsky got a hold of it, and it was just on the line. They're going to award the point to the Huskies, as it's going to be Tyne Suzuki getting a hold of it now. Just a light tapper, and we are going to get a net violation, and it's going to be on the Huskies. And the serve over is going to be picked up, set there by Suzuki. The spike coming from Smith. Suzuki with the save there now. Svidritsky and that just goes offline.
Surge taking a couple points back here as the Huskies are losing their momentum that they had at that point.
And that serve coming from Derek Lee is going to go out of bounds. From what once felt like a lengthy lead here for the Huskies is now just cut down to 5, as it's going to be Lee with the serve. And a big block there coming from Kalen Smith.
He is owning the net battle right now. It's another block. He just keeps tallying them up.
Once again, a 6-footer, Joseph Lee behind the line. The serve as that's going to hop over. Set over to the right side of Light Tapper as that's going to get out of reach, and a nice save there by the libero. And a fake set and a nice point there. It was Freelit putting that one down to the ground.
It's important for the Surge to make sure they score after almost getting the point. It's you got to make sure you take advantage of the free balls that they're giving back to you.
That's what it seemed like the Huskies were doing all set number 1 is the set here by Suzuki. Over to the left side, a nice spike there and an even better block as that's going to go out of play. Now getting ready for the serve is Liam Bishop. He jumps up and sends it as that's going to go out of bounds. Good eyes there by the Huskies on recovering that serve. Here comes Kalen Smith looking to redeem himself after last serve, launching it out of bounds. Light jump there, and it's going to be collected by Murray. Murray, now Lee, and the spike able to feel it.
Beautiful kill there from the outside, or the right side hitter.
Short shifts here for Kalen Smith as he's already back to the bench, giving handshakes from the rest. And what a beautiful pancake there, as that's going to be passed across over back into Surge territory. A good recovery by the Huskies. Back up, a setup there by Suzuki, and a spike coming from Lee as it's going to stay inbounds and a Huskies point.
You got to love seeing a pancake like that. They're quite rare and oh so fun when they happen.
You have to be spot on with your timing there, laying out, getting the flat hand down on the hardwood, keeping that ball in play. Huskies are now just 7 points away from taking set 2. Getting ready is going to be Thomas Tucci. The serve as that's going to go out of bounds. A free point there for the St. Lawrence Surge.
I think a substitution's happening here.
And it is, as it's going to be Derek Lee coming out, and it's going to be Ryan Levine in for the Surge. Levine, 6'1", coming out of Kingston, Ontario, a local here to the St. Lawrence College. As that's a nice setup here by the Huskies, and a smackdown play coming from Ethan Sutton. Seen the free ball in front of the net and decided to take action. No setup required, just wants to get straight to business here.
I just don't think that Nicholas Gaboitzio is ready for that ball to come over as it kind of hit him in the face. And the spike that time coming from Koshu. And this Huskies lead keeps dwindling as we're now down to just a 2-point lead.
3 straight unanswered here coming from the surge. That is correct, as it's going to be Gabriel Brochu. Now the set over the right side. Nice spike there coming from Law. That's going to go out. Huskies trying to get their lead back in this one, as it's going to be Matthew Law. Who's been unreal serving the ball so far for the Huskies in this one. So that one just creeps over the net. Set up over to the left side. Able to get it over was Murray, and a beautiful spike there coming from Phoebe, as that's going to go out of bounds.
Wow. Phoebe just put that straight down with some authority.
And a nice serve there coming from Law once again. Has been spot on all game, and a nice block coming from Phoebe and Koshush. And an even better block, but they're going to say that one was in play. Surge point.
It's a tough one there, as you see. Phoebe had to make the set because the setter was out of the play. As you can see, he's not his primary position.
And a nice serve there by Murray, able to drop it down. And Lee unable to get it as that one pops straight out of bounds. Just a 2-point deficit here in set number 2. 20-18 is the score. Riley Murray behind the line here for the surge. The set over to Lee, a nice spike there, the block off target. That one's gonna bounce, and the pancake attempt coming from Matthew Law is offline. Svidritsky looking to come back in here for the Huskies with just 5 points left to take the set. With a 1-point differential.
We see Tyan Suzuki also checking back into the game.
Some visible frustration coming from Maximilian Koshu. As the lead is slowly decreasing, and the Huskies now have to call a timeout to try to recollect their players, get them back into the groove that they were once in just a few moments ago.
We can see it here, we're just sitting next to the George Brown huddle. It's Svidritsky here letting his guys know what he needs out of them, as he's been leading this team so far in this game, and they only need 5 more to put away their second set of the season.
Being a year 3 among many here on the Huskies squad. Svidritsky able to collect another point here for the Huskies as 22-20 is the score here in set number 2. Nick Foby getting ready behind the line, ready to get this one underway. The set, the serve, good recovery there coming from Agudo, and that's going to go out of bounds. 3 straight unanswered coming for the Huskies.
Foby serving at the line here has been the key for the Huskies' success. They went on a 5-point run last time with him at the line. Here they are, 3 straight again with Foby serving.
This starting lineup for the Huskies has shown its universal talents, as they could be at the front lines, they could be serving, they could be diving, they could be playing heavy defense. All of them can do it all here on this Husky squad as they are in their groove right now. 3 straight unanswered. The Surge trying to fight back. This head-to-head OCAA matchup. One thing to mention about the Surge, Adrian Feelit, first in the OCAA with aces per set at 1.17. I believe he already has 1 ace on the day. But for a team that is 0-2 so far, being able to lead the entire province, it's definitely a big achievement.
They're going to need to see a little more of that, hopefully, in this set, or if not, through the 3rd, 4th, and 5th if they want to survive in this game.
For sure, as that's going to be Nick Foby back at the line once again. Big serve there and an ace for Foby.
And they just have no answer for him right now.
Foby with the toss and the serve, as that's going to be over to Feelit. And that's going to be the set. Huskies 2, Surge 0. Wow.
And Nick Foby in that set was just incredible. I think he alone generated almost 10 points for the Huskies.
It's between Foby and Svidritsky so far. Svidritsky led the charge in set 1. Foby leading the charge in set number 2 with assistance by Joseph Lee in both of those sets. Those 3 key players are doing damage so far for this George Brown squad.
The George Brown team just making little to no errors right now, and the Surge just have, it's not they're playing bad at all, but they just don't seem to have an answer for anything that the Huskies are throwing at them right now.
And as I'm looking at the stat sheet here now, Tyne Suzuki blows the rest of the Huskies out of the water for assists, leading the team with 34, and the team has 44 assists total. So Suzuki is in the mix nonstop so far for this George Brown squad this season. And just like that, the George Brown College Huskies are one set away from taking this one between the St. Lawrence Surge and the Huskies. I'm Cohen Ingram alongside Connor Boyd, What a match we have so far today.
Truly. And this George Brown squad, I'm sure, is quite happy with their performance so far today. It's been little to no mistakes made on that end of the court.
As we are just discussing on substitutions and whatnot, I believe, as it's going to be number 9, Tree Tran, going in for number 3, Alex Pilgrim.
A little libero swap here for the Surge, as maybe they hope that's the catalyst that this offense needs.
As we see Renegudo, the other libero, over at the doctor's table, just looking for some assistance on his knee. Volleyball must be a strenuous sport with the amount of hopping, diving, and running you have to do in just such a short amount of time. As here's a set over to the right side, and it's gonna be none other than Adrian Feelit.
That's a tough one there. Just barely tips the ball, and it's gonna cost the Huskies a point.
Derek Lee back behind the line, getting set for the Surge. Getting ready to serve here for the Huskies is going to be number 12, Tyrese Brooms. Sat out those first 2 sets, and the first serve he has is going to be a point for the Huskies.
Or was it a reserve? I'm not sure. Oh, it is a Huskies point. My bad. I'm not too sure what they were going on.
Wasn't quite sure on what the point was for, but I seen the officials' hands go towards the Huskies' territory, so a point is a point. At the end of the day, and a big spike there goes off the foot of Brooms.
What a shot there by Adrian Feelit. Sure, he's feeling it after that one.
Leads the league in service aces per set. He's showing off his strength here now, and a nice little head grazer coming from the Huskies. As it was Kalen Smith collecting the point there, and going back for the serve is going to be no other than Yaroslav Svidritsky, a key part of this Huskies lineup. Nice one there, and it's going to be in play. Drops right on the line, a dime dropper coming from Svidritsky.
And there's not a thing you can do about that if you're the Surge, because that looks like it's flying out of bounds and then just drops at last second onto the line.
Nice recovery there by the Surge, but it's just going to fly out of the hands and go out of bounds. As Svidritsky now gets ready behind the line once again. Had a nice serve, collected an ace on his last one. The lob and the punch, as that's going to go to the left side. A nice recovery here by the Surge, and they're going to let that one go out of bounds for the point.
Beautiful play by the Surge there. It's really hard to return those serves from Svidritsky.
We're not too far by the right corner here of the court. We're able to read Svidritsky's serves fairly well. The spin is immaculate. I'm not quite sure if the fans at home can catch it on camera. And there is another big point for the Surge. One thing I'm noticing here about Adrian Feelit, always looks back to the coach, trying to get some more advice on what he should do for the next play to lead his squad. as that's going to go way up in the air now back towards the net. Set over the netting. And Lee, and that's going to go into the crowd. Heads up. Keep your eyes on a swivel, folks.
It's a tough one there. You never want to give up points like that on a free ball coming to your side of the court.
Derek Lee put that one on a platter. Just got a little bit too much of the ball and launches it out of bounds. As it's going to be Matthew Law back behind the line here for the Huskies. A quick recovery here. A tap over the netting coming from Pilgrim, and that's going to be a good point there for the Surge as they're slowly crawling back into set number 3.
Just seemed like a little bit of miscommunication on the front of the Huskies' front 3 there, as no one knew who to go for that second ball.
And that one's going to go off the netting from the serve. Big Huskies point. One thing I would notice right now, the Huskies are playing very back on the serves. They know the Surge have some power, want to get back, take some extra time to recover and read the ball. That's going to go off the netting from a serve coming from Kaylin Smith there. 1 for 3 on serves on the day. As Riley Murray comes back behind the line this time for the Surge. And a big lob and a big serve there as it's going to bounce over to the left side. Good setup for Svidritsky, and he gets another kill on the board for the Huskies.
That just finds its way around the block. I mean, Svidritsky's placement with these hits is just incredible.
And the serve coming from Suzuki. Lee over to the right side. That's going to go off the netting and out of play. Liam Bishop tried to get a little bit of extra juice on that spike. Goes off the netting and just launches out of play to give the Huskies a free point. Now it's going to be Suzuki. Light floater off the serve, and now a bounce back as we are going to have a violation on the Surge. Another Huskies point awarded. Nice serve there. It will give big drop on it, and that's going to be another Huskies point.
The Huskies on a little run here again. That's going to be 4 consecutive and force a timeout out of the Surge.
Yeah, I could tell there. Riley Murray seemed a bit shaken up after failing to recover on that point. Just got to recalibrate as a team, as a whole. Get the communication back in check, as that's what's going to win you these games, especially when you're trailing.
And then the other bench, I'm sure they're talking 14 points away from your first win of the season. I'm sure they've got good vibes on that side, as they just need a couple more to put this one away.
0 sets for, 6 sets against going into this game for both teams. The Huskies have a chance to change the schedule, or excuse me, the leaderboards just in the split of an eye, as it's going to potentially be 3 sets for, 6 sets against if they're able to pull through here in set number 3.
Then you ask for the Surge team. They got to figure something out. Going down losing their first 9 sets of the season would be really rough way to get your season started.
Especially after the men watched the George Brown female team fall just short by a sliver to the St. Lawrence Surge female team as well earlier on today.
And that Surge women's team now 3-0 on the season.
2 completely different stories in the same school, and it's their first year being entered into the league. A great start for the females, as the men are trying to get it together to carry out for the rest of the season, as clearly the timeout has done some work, as it's Riley Murray collecting the first point post-timeout. Now ready for the serve is going to be Alex Pilgrim, coming from Kingston, Ontario, standing at 6'1", A light serve there as the set over the right side. Svidritsky. Wow.
There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, on the right side there, that's Adrian Fielet. He's got his hands up, good positioning, and it just bounces off his hands and out of bounds.
I didn't even see Svidritsky's hand make contact with the ball. I just seen it go flying with authority, so I knew he must have made some good contact with it. As getting ready for the serve now is going to be Jose. The set by Lee over to the left side. Now a recovery is not in time. Surge collect a point back. Now the serve from Lee. Over the left side, Svidritsky, and out's in.
You know, I'm just starting to see, I think the difference in this one is the serving so huge. The George Brown Huskies here, it seems like most players in their roster have a really nice jumping topspin serve, while the Surge just has to keep sending floaters over, which is just a lot easier to deal with for the defense.
And a nice recovery there, and the miscommunication continues as it was Adrian Fielet had 2 steps to reach that ball, and everybody was looking at each other, just not knowing what to do, and the Surge freeze. Times like these, you don't want to fall apart. One can lead after another. You just got to keep it rolling and try to get this one back in the hands of your team as they collect a point that time.
Almost a nice save there by the Huskies. Who was that against the edge there? I mean, a nice pass to keep the play alive. Number 5, Daryl Jose.
And now getting set for the serve is Liam Bishop. That's going to go out of bounds. 15-9 is the score here in set number 3.
It's probably the last man you want to see serving as your team's trying to build a little bit of momentum back.
And there's a hefty serve from Svidritsky. And a setup and a nice spike there coming from Kalen Smith. Was struggling on the serves earlier. Now is commanding just in front of the net. And another serve and an ace coming from Yaroslav Svidritsky.
And just not a thing you can do about that topspin serve. It is coming in so fast, and just the movement on the ball is just so hard to track.
Panic mode is definitely set in here for the St. Lawrence Surge squad. They're just trying to find ways to recover off of these Svidritsky serves. And there's a nice one. Svidritsky lays out for it for the save, but it's not in time. Big point for the Surge here as they are trying to crawl back into this one. A 7-point deficit. They need 15 to win the set. Can they do it? We are sitting right next to the St. Lawrence bench right here. The bench is being very pick-me-up. After every substitution, they make sure to go to the guy that just came off and gave him a big hug and some reassurance as they are trailing in set number 3.
The Huskies just in control this entire game so far with an commanding 8-point lead with just 7 points for their first win of the season.
And Law with a nice serve there. The setup over to the left side. Good play there coming from Murray. Now it hops over the net. Lee. Now a big setup there by George, and feel it with a spike. Now over to the right side, a nice spike there as that goes towards the scores table. And a big point there for the Huskies as they are now 6 points away from collecting their first victory. And it's none other than on home turf as they start a 3-game home stretch. And a quick call there by the Surge. It seemed as soon as it went out of the hand, somebody was screaming out, and it was indeed.
That communication's good to hear. They're just getting back in rhythm with each other. They had a couple of just key points they gave up because of miscommunication.
And two big parts of the Surge lineup, Derek Lee and Adrian Feelit, both now sent to the bench as their substitutions come on. A serve there coming from the substitution. Gabriel Brochu is offline. Now 5 points away from collecting their first victory of the OCAA 25-26 regular season here in the men's volleyball circuit. And it's going to be Tucci with the serve, and that's going to hit the netting. 20-12 is now the score.
If the Surge have anything left in the tank, now's the time to empty it out.
Nice recovery there, and a big spike, and an even bigger dive there. As it's not going to be in the hands of the Surge. Riley Murray tries to go for the spike, and it rips off the net.
It's a great save by, I believe it was number 9, the libero there, who made that play. That was Tran.
And a light serve there, this time coming from Tyan Suzuki. It's still in Surge territory. The set over to the left side. Nice play there coming from Liam Bishop. Play continues. Tran, the setup. Just a light toss over coming from Murray, and now it's going to be back into Surge territory. The set back over to the right side. A nice play there. Svidritsky sends it back towards the middle. A nice tip there. Surge put it back into the hands of the Huskies. Svidritsky with a spike, and he gets it once again.
After a long rally like that, who else but Svidritsky to be the man who ends that? Second, he gets his hands about he gets the opportunity to make the third hit. He's making sure that ball is not coming back to their side of the net.
That was a beautiful rally from both teams. Being this late into the game, the energy is still up, even for the Surge. As the George Brown crowd starts to get electric here. And off the serve, it's going to be collected over to the left side. A nice block, that time coming from George. And an even bigger spike laying down the hammer was number 12, Tyrese Brooms.
Not to mention the little celebration afterwards. I love that. You can see this Huskies team is having a great time on the court today.
The confidence is definitely through the roof. As getting ready to serve, it's going to be number 5, Daryl Jose. He lines up the ball with the lob and the serve as that's going to go off the netting and nails Tyrese Brooms right in the gut there. Heads up.
Margin for error is basically 0 for this Surge team, as they're going to have to go on an 11-point run to keep their hopes alive in this game.
Everybody in this crowd knows that it's possible for the Surge to just flip this around in an instinct, but it will definitely take a miracle for that to happen. As it's Derek Lee with the serve. Now Suzuki and a nice spike, but that heads on over to the Surge bench.
I think you can see the Huskies are getting a little antsy for their first win. Brooms there just sky-mailed that one right out of bounds.
Over to the right side, a nice spike there. Even better block by Feelit. And there it is once again. Svidritsky goes for the spike, but it's going to be a net violation. Surge slowly crawling back into this one, 23-16 in set number 3.
1 point at a time is all it takes there, Cohen.
And it's Derek Lee with the serve. Set up by Suzuki over the left side. Svidritsky, and that goes off of a noggin and out of play. 24-16, just 1 point away from collecting their first victory on the year. And in the front lines, it's none other than Yaroslav Svidritsky. Crowd is on their feet. Set up by Derek Lee over to the left side. Bishop with the play, diving, and that's going to go out of bounds. And the George Brown Huskies defeat the St. Lawrence Surge 25-16 and set number 3 for a 3 straight set victory on home court.
And how else for it to end but Kalen Smith for another block for the game-winning point. Man, those top 3 for the George Brown squad today were just incredible.
My God. Joseph Lee did an unreal job of those first 2 sets. Took a little break in set number 3. Left it up to Brooms, Svidritsky, Phoebe. And even Suzuki had a big play there in set number 3 as the Huskies came together as a whole for a big first victory on the year.
Just a great team win.
As that's going to do it for us over in the booth. I'm Cohen Ingram alongside Connor Boyd, and it's Chloe Sinnott doing Scorebug. That's going to do it for us up here in the booth. Thank you all for staying around and watching till the end. Good night.